It's a good question. So I think the general benefit is that I have this platform where I can, like, I talk to these people on a day-to-day basis, and we might have like a conversation 5 to 10 minutes on the phone about a certain topic, and then we're like, oh, but we have to continue doing our work, so we can't like have deep conversations as much. Sometimes we do, but it's then like, can we share it with the world? So
In today's episode of My Podcaster, we have Matthieu Mehuys, an award-winning author and passionate landscape architect. Matthieu is the host of the Regenerative Design Podcast, where he explores the intersection of gardening, farming, and sustainable development. His journey began on a family farm in Belgium, where a lifelong fascination with plants ignited his mission to create environments that not only look beautiful, but also promote biodiversity and combat climate change. After feeling unfulfilled in a traditional job, Matthieu took a leap of faith, traveling the globe to work on innovative eco projects, which ultimately inspired him to start his own business. He's here to share his inspiring journey on how he built his show from the ground up and how he empowers others to transform their gardens into thriving ecosystems.
fun wisdom.
Tell us your name, the name of your podcast, and what your podcast is about.
We're rolling now, or you want me to tell you now?
We're rolling.
We're rolling. Okay, my name is Matthieu Mehuys, and my podcast is called the Regenerative Design Podcast. Yes,
What-
so it's about how we can actually create a beautiful world that is good for our planet. So it's based on everything that has to do with nature development, farming. But at the same time, how can we do that and do good in business? Because a lot of people think that, oh, if we want to protect the environment, it's going to cost a lot of money, or we have to do it with taxpayer money. Or on the other hand, if we want to be good in business, we have to like exploit the planet. And when we do something polluting for the planet, it's just how things are. That's part of business. But I don't believe that. I think that there's huge opportunities in doing both good for the environment and doing good for business. In fact, I believe that it's probably the only future, or that's what real businesses, really good businesses will excel at in already today, actually, and definitely in the future.
Wow. How long have you been doing this podcast for?
I started it in April of last year. So we're doing it a little bit over a year now, yeah.
Okay. Can you walk me through what led to you starting the podcast?
What led to what?
What led to you starting the podcast?
Oh yeah, that's a really good question, Wisdom. I thought I had been going on a few podcasts myself because I wrote a book called 12 Universal Laws of Nature, How to Get the Most Potential Out of Your Land, which is really about, okay, how, if you have a piece of land, even a small backyard, how can you get the most potential out of it, right? And I have my business, and I thought, okay, how can I inspire more people to take action and start that business that they always dreamed of, or that they can do something good for the environment? And maybe some people are thinking like, oh, I'm doubting, I want to do something good for the environment, and I also want to start my business, but I don't think I can combine both of them. So from that idea, I said, okay, I know quite a lot of people in this space of entrepreneurship and doing good for the environment, like a lot of sustainable entrepreneurs, lots of farmers that I know. I have also been featured in a movie, so I was getting into a good network. Oh,
Yeah. Hello.
oh, there you are, Wisdom.
Yeah. I couldn't hear you for a while. Yeah. Although everything was recorded, can you just quickly? I couldn't when you answered the question. I could not hear what you were saying.
Yeah, so the whole same question, why I started?
Yeah, I got the part that it was one out of the question of a lot of business owners who wanted to do good for the environment, but feeling that they could not combine both.
Yeah, so then I thought like, okay, I know quite a lot of people in that space, of people that are doing good for the environment and at the same time are doing good in business. And I know a lot of farmers. I grew up on a farm myself, and I put into the spotlight that it's really possible to do both. And in fact, that it makes your business even more profitable if you do it in harmony with nature. So that was my main driving force to show the world like this is possible, because a lot of people were still or are still doubting that. So that's pretty much how it started, yeah. And then I just interviewed the first one and continued.
Yeah. You mentioned that you started your podcast last year. So the podcast is about a year old right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, how often do you publish episodes?
Usually I publish every week, but now we're on a bit of a break because I have to focus on some of my own business work. But we have about, I think, 30 or 35 episodes on there. So we're in a break at the moment.
Oh, okay. You interview guests, and I want you to like walk us through the production or the making of the podcast from idea to publishing the episodes on the podcast platform. Where do you get guests from? And can you just walk us from start to finish?
So where I get guests from is mostly from my own network. And then I've also started to use this software called Podmatch that actually connected the both of us here with you, Wisdom. That's pretty unique, right? You're on the other side of the world, and we're still able to connect. So that's pretty cool, right? So that I use that, and then I'm using, I don't know even what software I'm using, because I hired someone who does the whole production, which is pretty amazing. He's a guy from Canada, and he's really good at what he does because I don't have to do anything. I just have to go into the room and interview the person, which I love doing. It. I find it's very natural to me, just asking some questions, just like as if I'm talking to a good friend. So that's how it goes. And he publishes everything, so that's really useful.
Uh, when you, let's say for a month, all right, what would you say is the cost that it takes to produce the podcast for maybe in a month?
It's probably around 800 Canadian dollars, so that would be Canadian dollars pretty weak. So it's 600. But this includes also social media posting, making reels, posting them on my channel, and even putting it on YouTube as well. So yeah, there's a bunch of things that he's actually doing for that price.
The podcast has been around for a year now, and the question is, how's the podcast doing with regard to the purpose you started the podcast? That is, to help business owners see that they can make profits and they can also help nature at the same time.
Yes. So can you rephrase your question? I'm not sure 100% if I understood it. That's maybe my mistake.
Okay. What I mean is, you started the podcast for 1 year. It's a venture, right? It's a project. And when you started the project, you had a purpose in mind for starting the project. So now I'm asking you, is like looking back and looking at the way things are right now, how would you say the project is performing in comparison with the purpose, right? So we're not looking at what other people say it should be, but based on the purpose you had in mind when you started the podcast, how is this project working? Do you understand the question now?
Yeah, really good question. I think it's a very slow process, to be honest. Like, I think we had some reviews and some ratings on Spotify. And then I try to promote it as much as I can, but I think we're at about 400 listens per episode, which I'm not an expert in it. I don't know. I thought it was rather low, but it sounds like that's kind of normal at the
That's a lot,
beginning.
man.
Yeah. Is that a lot?
Yeah, you're among the top 1% of podcasters.
Wow. Okay. That's good. Good news. So
A a lot of
I think it's
podcasters
very become very
don't get
competitive.
listens or downloads.
Say again?
See, a lot of podcasters, they don't get listens or downloads. That's why most of them even quit in the first place.
Oh wow. Interesting. Actually, I do care about, like, I checked it once. I want to know how it's performing, but at the same time I don't care that much because I'm so excited to be able to interview these amazing people that are doing amazing things for the world. That's mostly what is most exciting. And in fact, it's gotten me a lot of business opportunities as well, because I sometimes think like, oh, I want to talk to this person, but he's like very busy, or I cannot ever schedule a meeting with that person because I'm not that known yet.
Yeah.
So I can go the regular way and try to walk through their company and talk to the managers and that. But then when I send them a direct message on LinkedIn and say like, hey, do you want to come on my podcast? I love your work. Then they're like, wow, this is a professional. He's a podcaster. Like, it adds a lot of reputation to your business. So even if it's not performing yet where I would like it to be, it's just, yeah, very valuable for my personal network.
Yeah. So far, so far the past 1 year, right? I know, of course, the goal is to help business owners and to help people in the world. But before we talk about that, I want us to look at over the past 1 year. What are some of the benefits, the personal benefits you would say the podcast has actually done for you or to you, either way, whatever the circumstance might be for you?
That's a good question. So I think the general benefit is that I have this platform where I can, like, I talk to these people on a day-to-day basis, and we might have like a conversation 5 to 10 minutes on the phone about a certain topic, and then we're like, oh, but we have to continue doing our work, so we can't like have deep conversations as much.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do, but it's then like, can we share it with the world? So I think the best experience that stood out was that I interviewed a regenerative farmer from Canada that I had met because I was featured in a movie, and I actually interviewed that farmer in the movie, and I was just so fascinated about what he's doing. He's like growing amazing food. Like, people that have cancer come to him and they start eating his food, his vegetables, and they like heal from cancer
Wow.
because he's doing it so naturally, and like he has some secrets that nobody really knows about, or very few people know about. So I was very, very grateful to be able to interview him for my podcast, even though he's not even that known, or like he's just farming, which, yeah, I think it's amazing. I grew up on a farm as well. I have a lot of respect for farmers, and I'm consulting farmers as well. So yeah, that was just a highlight, just the amount of value that this farmer could bring in one conversation of 1.5 hours. It was just, yeah, so inspiring, and it gave me a lot of extra energy to keep going in my own business.
You mentioned that that you you're taking a break for the podcast.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, how long is this break, and what was the thought process that led to you deciding to take a break on the podcast?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Wisdom. Again, well, I have to say you're really good at asking very good questions. Uh,
Thank
so yeah, it was actually mostly a financial decision now at this stage. Like, I had to restructure some focus points in my business, and the podcast was just not like the core of it at the moment. So I had to make a few tough decisions, which, yeah, I'm a bit sad about it, but it's probably just going to be a couple months before I can reinvest in, or I can justify investing in it again.
you mentioned tough decisions, right? And I don't know if it's something that you want to share, but I would love to like know what those tough decisions are.
Say again, you would like to know what?
Good. You mentioned that you made some tough decisions that you're sad about. I would love to
Yes.
know if you're okay with sharing what those tough decisions are.
Yeah, sure. So my business had grown a lot, and then we were doing very well, but then I
Just
just like
for
any.
context sake, what's the business that you
Oh,
do?
yeah, good question. So I'm a landscape architect and regenerative land consultant, and um I'm also a land development consultant. So I look at landowners, what can they do with their land? How can they improve it? How can they make it better? How can they increase the value of their properties? And I'm also a garden designer. So kind of it ranges from small projects to quite big ones. So that's my business. And yeah, we had some really good months, but then there was a few unexpected costs that arose in my company. One, like we had a legal dispute with a client, so it became a lawsuit. So I had to hire a lawyer. That was a lot of costs that I hadn't calculated with. Fortunately, we won the court case, but yeah, you have to still pay the lawyers. So it just became like not like, I guess I have a list of things that I have to do. I have to pay my staff. I have to do things, and podcasting was just too low on the list for now. Yeah, so you have to make some tough decisions then.
Yeah, and just to be clear for those that are listening, this decision is financial based, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's not that you're tired of the podcast or you don't love doing the podcast. Just that because of the
Yeah.
financial expense or the financial cost regarding producing the podcast, you just have to like pause for now.
Yes, it's mostly financial. I have to say, at some point, I think I was around 32 episodes. I was like doing a lot of other stuff. And then I lost a bit the focus of being consistent and making sure that I have an episode a day. So, and one episode a week. So I think I might have missed like 1 or 2 weeks. And then I was just getting started again, and I had a whole lineup of people. But then I had to put it on hold, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah. So if financial, let's say if it was free to produce the podcast, right? And all you
Yeah.
just needed to do was probably spend I don't know about 2 hours or so. I don't know how many hours you spend interviewing people a week. Would you still be doing the podcast?
If I have to spend how much time?
No, if let's assume hypothetically that uh producing the podcast was free, right? And
Yeah.
all you needed to do was just show up and interview. Would you still do the podcast?
Probably, yeah. Very likely.
This one you're saying very likely. It doesn't seem like it's all financial based.
Why not?
Yeah, because earlier on I asked you if that the decision you made was purely based on financial stuff, that because you needed to kind of like re re what they call reallocate resources to certain areas that were like topmost priorities in terms of finances. That's why you stopped producing the podcast. And now I'm saying that
Yes.
if hypothetically in a situation where you could produce the podcast for free and not have to do anything extra, just be doing what you did it in the past, would you still produce the podcast? And you didn't sound shocked.
No, because I would still like have to dedicate 1 hour or 2 hours a week. And I don't know if I can justify even spending my personal time, because I have to focus on client acquisition, meeting with clients. So that's mostly why I wouldn't be able to do it. But that's why it's very, that I said that was like very likely.
Yeah, okay. I understand, and it all makes sense. Thanks for explaining and going into some of the details that led to the decision. Uh,
Hmm.
I want to ask now, the business you do, you're a landscape architect, right?
Yes,
How
exactly.
do you get the clients you get? What's like the major channels where you get clients?
There's a few channels. Mostly I get referrals. So people that, either existing clients or people that heard of me or that following me on social media, refer me or say like, oh, you should follow this guy and check him out. And then people contact me. That's most of it. Let me see if there's other ways. Actually, from going on podcasts as well. Like I go, like today I'm going on a podcast, and that sometimes gets me clients as well. If I'm like completely telling my story, what I do, how I did it, people are like, wow, I just need a new garden, so can we talk? So that also gives me quite a few clients. And then just thinking, scanning through all my clients. Yeah, mostly I'd say 90% referrals.
Okay. Um, I want us to go back a bit before you stopped the how long has it been since you stopped releasing episodes on the podcast?
It's probably been close to 2 months now,
Okay,
maybe one
okay.
and a half.
Before you stopped um publishing episodes, um, that's even up till now that you because the podcasts are still live, right? If I should search for the podcast, I'll find them, right?
Yeah. I'm actually looking myself. So actually April 16th, so it's not even a month
Okay,
ago.
it's not even up to a month.
Yeah, it's not even a month ago. So
Yeah. What I want to know is the business
29.
you do, right? And the podcast you have, in a way, it kind of connects in an ecosystem way, kind of, right, to the business. I mean, not directly, but it's regenerative design you talk about, and then you are a landscape architect, and you know, so over the course of the podcast, has there been a time you got leads from the podcast?
You mean like other than the guests or the
I mean,
guests
both ways,
themselves?
via guest or via listeners, either can.
I think I've had no leads from. Actually, it's hard to tell because I also promote like I have a funnel, and I don't know if people land on my funnel through my podcast. I don't know that, but I don't think so because it's mostly from social media. But still, I promote I'm doing a masterclass on gardening, so I promote that on my own podcast. Then I don't think I had actual leads from it, not yet. Yeah, but I believe often that it's like, oh no, sorry, I did get one. Yeah, definitely one. I even made a quote for the person that came on. Actually, to another client. Yeah, there's definitely. Oh, actually, more. There's more. I'm checking now. Definitely, yeah, a lot.
Yeah, so I
Yeah,
think
at least there's at least one conversation where we brainstorm like, what's your business? Can I help you? Is there ways we are overlapping? Can I help some of your clients? So I would say actually 50% of my podcasts or the people that are on my show are either actual clients or we're kind of in the progress of working through some ideas.
oh,
So yeah, I was
so
completely wrong. I was just
yeah, so
thinking that was nothing, but it's
uh
at least 50%, maybe more.
yeah, so what it sounds like was that just from the 32 episodes that you did, you were able to meet amazing guests who happened to some of them ended up working with you, others, you know, um so the podcast in itself, I could consider it a marketing strategy, right?
Yep. Oh yeah.
And you did mention social media.
Yeah.
The sweet thing you talked about earlier on is that your podcast producer cuts the podcast into clips, and they post it on your social media platform.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
So it was more like the content marketing for you. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean the
Yeah, it was
production
very
cost
important for.
is expensive, but it works.
Say again.
I said the production cost for the podcast is, is a bit expensive, but considering you don't spend time on any of the stuff, so it's worth it in a way.
Yeah, I think as well. Like it is. I guess it's not cheap, but at the same time, if it was only for putting the podcast on all the platforms, I think it would be a bit expensive. But my guy, he's like going through it, he's correcting it, he's making reels from the video, like 5 reels, and then he posts them on LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Puts the reels on YouTube and puts the whole podcast on YouTube. Like if I had to do that, like I'm not so tech savvy, it would probably take me half a day a week, and I don't have that time to do
Yeah,
that. If
yeah,
if if that would have been my commitment to do it, I would have probably stopped after episode 3. And I think that's what most people do, right? Like I did some research, like because I'm curious, like how do podcasts become successful, and I saw that I think 90% of people that started podcasts stop within the first 3 episodes or something. It's like ridiculous. Uh,
yeah,
so I was really, I set a strong intention that I really want to keep it going.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a bit sad. I know that it's just a break that hopefully in the future everything stabilizes in the business that you then get back on track and start doing the podcast
Oh yeah,
episode.
totally. So Wisdom, you also help people to make their own podcast, or?
No. I don't do podcast production.
Ah, okay. So what do you do then?
Yeah, I'm a student.
Wow, you're still a student.
Yeah, I'm still a student.
What are you studying, if I can ask?
Electrical engineering,
Mechanical engineering?
electronics engineering.
Oh wow, congratulations. That's amazing. You're still studying and doing a podcast. How hard do you find it to keep doing it consistently?
I mean, Podmatch makes it easy to find guests, and that's like the major struggle for podcasts. Other than that, it's just editing and and then publishing on the platform. I get to do everything in advance. I batch everything. I batch the recording, batch the editing, and then batch the uploading, and that's it.
Wow, so you do everything yourself?
Yeah, I can't afford to hire someone like he doesn't. You know, how do I explain that? For you now, your time is worth more than 1 hour of your time is worth more than spending to edit the stuff. So you can afford to like pay someone to do it, because that 1 hour you can actually make more that you're spending on the hour for someone to edit. So yeah, right now I'm not at that point yet.
You're very smart, Wisdom, I have to say. Like, can I even ask how old you are?
Well, 24.
You already know so much. I wish I was as smart as you when I was 24. I wasn't. So you have a bright future ahead of you.
Thank you
What
very much.
sector would you most like to work in?
Telecommunication.
Okay. Is
Yeah,
that gonna be still with AI and a lot of revolutions there? Is that still gonna be a sector, you think? There's still
yeah.
opportunities there?
I mean the AI and everything they are using electronics to run now, right?
They're using what?
I said the chat GPT and all that, they have an engine room and everything, that a data server room and everything where the AI is running.
Oh yeah, so the actual computers and the mechanics
Yeah,
of.
exactly.
Okay, so yeah, you'll have plenty of work because we'll need. Maybe
Yeah,
you should invent a supercomputer or quantum computers. Have you
hopefully.
heard of that?
Yeah, you said,
Have you heard of quantum computers?
yeah, I've heard of.
Nice. Are you building one?
No, not yet.
Not yet. I love
Not
it.
yet.
Good spirit, good
Yeah,
mindset. Not yet. I love it.
yeah, yeah. Thank you
You
so
think
much.
it's gonna happen? It's gonna happen, the
I
quantum
mean,
computers? You
anything is
think?
anything is possible.
Wow, that's gonna be a big change, no?
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen never. Anything is possible. Okay. Wow. So for me now, what I'm thinking, I know since it's a financial decision, it's one of those things that until the business kind of stabilize and it makes sense, that's when the podcast will come back to life, because you kind of have a good head start, because earlier on when we were having a conversation, you mentioned that you have about 400 listens per episode.
Yes, I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's what I remember.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of persons are struggling to get 10 per episode, and that's
Wow.
a lot. And for me, I'm just kind of like, I'm
Actually, I
kind
can
of,
check
what's
it.
the word? I'm concerned that before you come back on, some of those listeners would have, moved on, and then you have to like start from scratch.
Yeah, that's it. So I'm using Zencaster. Do you know how many listeners you have per episode?
Yeah, Oh, okay. The listeners I have, this is a new show. I know I told you that I'm batching the recording so I can start releasing the episodes gradually.
Oh, that's smart. So you haven't launched it yet?
No, I haven't launched it. So, but it will be launching tomorrow.
Oh, wow, nice. So that's really cool. I think it's very smart to be batching. You're very smart. I guess your name was given correctly. So
uh,
when you have
yeah.
like a stack, when you have like, I would say if you're posting it every week, if you have 5 episodes in the pipeline and you keep doing it, you have like a buffer of 5 weeks, then yeah, if I would have a buffer of 5 weeks, then I wouldn't have had to stop it probably.
I mean, I was going to talk about that, but since you said it was financial, what do you call it now? Financial decision.
Yeah.
I was like, even if you batch, I'm assuming you pay your podcast producer per episode that he does, not necessarily
for his time or any of those things. It's more like project.
Yeah, exactly. Project based.
So if you were like saying you wanted to batch, let's say 10 recordings ahead of time, what would have happened would have be that you still pay for 10 episodes. So that was why I was like, okay, why didn't you do that way? But I was like, no.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
But
Yeah.
what about, have you thought about kind of like reducing the cost? Well, more like reducing the things you do for now, such that how do I say it? He's doing a lot of work on the podcast. What if instead of doing all the clips, all the promotion on socials and all that, we just do the recording and then he does the editing and then release on the you're active on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Okay, he just does the release of the full length episode on YouTube and then on the audio platforms. You mentioned you use Zencaster for
Yeah.
yeah. So what if I don't know what the cost would be, but what if he does that? And then later on, the sweet thing is that you still have the episodes and the stuff you talk about is it's kind of evergreen in a way. It's not so trendy or newsy type that such that 6 months from now an episode you made now will still be relevant.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Wow.
So what
You're
could
so strategic.
happen? I don't know. I don't know how did you even arrive at the analysis of the cost and calculation such you could still be okay. You could okay. Uh, I'm just thinking wide. I'm trying to think out. You could batch the recording such that you only record episodes with guests on maybe let's say every Saturday in a month because you have a lot of things to do.
Mm.
Instead of you could maybe do 45 minutes, 1 hour, but 5 to 6 hours, and then you do that's about 4 to 5 recordings. Now, of course, some guests won't show up, or not most of the times. Majority of the guests will show up. You then have recordings for the next 1 to 2 months. So now since you have someone producing your show, of course, you're spending money to do that. You have someone who takes care of everything. Your podcast, I know you're not tracking word for word, but your podcast feeds into the ecosystem of your leads, and it also helps to educate and enlighten your leads.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's a business expense. It's not just a creative hobby. It's something fun, but yeah, it makes more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, if it could do that, such that the arrangement would be that okay, in the future when I can afford to do all the clipping, the posting on social media, on TikTok, LinkedIn, and all, I would. All you need to do is you would have to so basically, what I'm saying is that find if there's a way to separate the full editing of the episodes and posting it on the podcast platforms, and then the repurposing of the and then posting on. So if you can separate that, such as say, okay, can I pay for just the editing of the episodes for now, and then later on in the future when I can afford to, we can go back to those previous episodes, and then you can cut those clips and then post on socials, because podcasting in a way is a cheat code for creating content and being active on all social platforms.
Yeah, true. You're right. I should start doing it again and just get.
Yeah, I mean it's a business expense, and yeah, but it's important. I mean, you could shorten the what's the word? I don't know how long is an episode usually for a podcast?
15 minutes, but I've had some people we talk for 2.5 hours just because it's a lot of fun and very interesting.
Okay.
So
okay.
some were
Yeah.
30 minutes. Well, I don't try to force it to a
Yeah.
time, but
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I get it. 2 hours for me. When I hear the word 2 hours, I'm like, that's a ton of content. I mean, the possible ways that's like enough content for a whole month on social media. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It does connect to the business. The sweet thing, I don't know how this might be a goal for your business. I'm just going to put it out there, and of course, you get to make it. You're the boss.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, you're the boss, right? You're the boss of the company. Yeah. So you're the boss. Your podcast gets to build and establish your authority in the space, not in terms of the listeners, because authority is like two-sided.
Yeah.
So in terms of the top, the industry leaders. You mentioned earlier that it's hard to like. Okay, if not for this podcast, how could I like message you and say, Matthew, I'd love to have a conversation with you, and you're like, I mean, it's. But now I love to interview you on my podcast and have a chat with you. It's different, right? Now I know you that you do landscape, you're a landscape architect, and you do the regenerative design podcast. I know that, right? I've met you, right? And peradventure in
Yes.
future something comes up, or a conversation leads to a conversation. I'm like, oh yeah, I interviewed the guy who does that. Yeah, I could reach out to him and connect you to.
Oh yeah, that's smart.
You get? Yeah. So in terms of the upper room, like in terms of the top level people, it builds you, okay, the movers and shakers of the industry that you are in. It connects you with other architects, connects you with other people that that are in your industry, other businesses that would possibly want to refer clients to you. And then
Mm-hmm.
because you're having a conversation with them, which is one to one. And then of course it also publish the episodes that are published in the industry. And okay, I'll give an example. Just doing this podcast alone, where I talk about people's podcast story, I've had the opportunity to talk with different podcast hosts from different with different types of podcasts, and in a way, I've known, and a lot of podcast hosts they've known me too just by me interviewing them. Now, of course, we've not we will also talk about the aspect of having guests and sorry, having the listeners listen to the episode, which is okay. Drop the minute. I need to go for my next.
Oh yeah, I didn't want to interrupt you because I like what you're saying, but I need to go
Okay,
for
okay,
my
okay,
next.
okay. Can you explain what you're saying so I
Oh
understand?
no, I was just gonna say that I need to wrap it up soon because need to go to a business meeting in the next minute. So I just
Oh,
wanted to
yeah, you wrote weekend. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah,
Oh,
yeah. That I was kind of
that's,
confused.
that's a
Okay,
mistake. Meeting.
the
I wrote
uh,
weekend, but I mean meeting.
okay, the time that was booked showed that I still have 15 minutes left. So what's when do you want me to round up the meeting so that I know what I'm working?
Say again.
I said, how many minutes time do you want me to round up the meeting? According to the meeting that was booked, I still have 15 minutes. Like
Oh, I
this.
didn't know. Sorry about that. I did have another meeting planned
Okay,
that
so
came in
how many minutes do you have left now for
like
this interview?
one or two.
What you said?
One or two.
Okay. Let's just round it up. Yeah, and just quickly, just give a piece of advice for podcasters that are just starting out, and then the next thing is you then tell us where people can learn more about you and check out your. So let's just make it
Yeah.
snappy.
Yeah. So thank you for that wisdom. So people can find me on most social media platforms. And if I can give one piece of advice, if you have an idea and it's even very tough, you think like it's impossible, still pursue it and do everything you can, even to make one small step in that direction, because it takes a lot of time to achieve big things, but you have to start moving. You have to make like baby steps. Like if you want to, I don't know, if you want to climb the highest mountain in the world, you still have to start with the first step at the base of the mountain, and that's your first step, and then you keep going and keep going and keep going, and don't stop, even if it's tough moments where you think like, oh, how am I ever going to get out of that? Then keep going, because
Yeah.
there's always a way out.
Yeah, please re-mention the name of your podcast, and if you have a website, I would love for you to mention that, or if you have any special project you want us to check out on, and then I would love for you to call your full name so people can hear what your name is and everything, so that we can.
Yeah, so the website or the name of my podcast is the Regenerative Design Podcast. And then if people want to find out more, you can go to my website, which is www.paulonia-la.com. And I think I can send you the description, so you can put it in the show notes. If people want to learn more about gardening and how to do it themselves, I also have a website called www.gardenofyourdreams.com. And there, if you do /free training, you can access a free training. It's about 30 minutes and you'll get to learn a lot already on gardening. And yeah, and then if you want to reach out, you can always send me a DM on any of the platforms. I try to be quite responsive there. And yeah, that's it.
Please call out your name.
Yeah, my name is Matthieu Mehuys.
Okay. Thank you so much, Matthew, for coming on the podcast, and thanks for sharing. Hopefully, if you do start your podcast, let me know. I'd love to, like, I'm rooting for you. I'd love to see how things turn.
Yes, of course.
That's it for today's episode of my podcast story. I am Wisdom Okonkwo, and I hope this conversation sparked new ideas and gave you a deeper look into the heart of podcasting. If you've loved this episode, consider supporting the show by buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/wisdomhq. Every bit helps keep the stories going. And hey, don't forget to follow, rate, and share this podcast with another podcaster or creator who would find it helpful. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you in the next episode.